Yeah, you can adjust.
Oh, I can adjust. What? Okay. She turns, she swivels.
She does the whole
She's
thing.
loose. Okay.
We're rolling. Welcome. Welcome to Welcome to session number 4. I'm your host Dylan.
I'm Mo.
And we got someone. I was so excited for this episode. When I had this idea, I knew I had to bring this amazing lady in this building right here. We have Miss Danyel Moulton.
Hi.
In the building.
Hi.
If you don't know her, you should. And it's really disrespectful if you don't, in my opinion. But welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Not me having
Snicker. Hey.
You know what I mean? You just gotta.
Yo, you just came back from Vegas.
I did.
I
was driving
this morning.
A couple hours ago. I think this is like the second thing I've eaten today. So, thank you for letting me do that.
Hey, you gotta get all the energy you can.
Nutrients, if you will.
Exactly. No, but we just you coming just from Vegas and then putting this in your schedule.
Yeah, same day. Thanks for making that work. Of course,
but this is like my energy is now rejuvenated from being in this. So thank you for this opportunity. This is really tight.
No, I as right when we started filming or just even in the process of scheduling our guests, we had a meeting about who would be amazing for the first month. And I knew I had to get you right away because you started your own podcast.
I did.
So right when you uploaded yours, it was right when we were doing behind the scenes, formulating it all. And I was like, yo, perfect. Let's get you in here.
Wow.
It's called Down in the DMs, right?
It is.
Yeah, so check that podcast out as well.
Check it out. You know what I mean? It's not this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely.
Hey, but you're just doing the damn thing.
Yeah, and that's on period.
Exactly.
Doing the damn. It's just me, with my phone, audio messaging it and then uploading it to Anchor.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Know what I mean?
But that's really all that's what we talked about in the first episode was we don't know where this is going to take us and you don't need we're not saying you need all this, but you just got to do something. You just got to do it. Just take your first step.
Put the content out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Baby
steps. Before we get even deeper into the down in the DMs is I recently took your class. And I first want to say how empowering you are, how you teach, and you're so you're incredible. It's the first time I took a class too.
Yeah.
We always just were on the same team, or we just did the same job or video.
Yeah.
But and I want to say it's class etiquette. If you don't know, I told Mo this before we started, but class etiquette for students is always thank your choreographer.
Yeah.
And usually it's you kind of expect the choreographer saying things. Thank you for coming, see you later. Yep. But for you literally have a conversation for 5 minutes with everybody. It don't matter if it's 40, 100, and that's to me, you're a big leader right now and showing up as a leader in this community, which is incredible, seeing your growth. And I want to know, we were talking, we want to know, where did this leadership mentality come from? Because you also went to OSHA.
I did. Oof.
I learned that today. I did not.
Really?
I didn't know that you also.
You didn't know.
He went to OSHA too. He went for acting.
Yeah, I didn't go all 4 years, but I still didn't know that.
He did 2 years.
Yeah, I did 2 years.
And he was in my senior project. He's an amazing actor. But
worlds collide.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That.
She did the dance conservatory.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah. I was telling Maddie about you that we're having you on today, and she knew you or knew of you that you.
Oh, his
went
girlfriend.
To, my girlfriend.
Who's your Maddie?
Maddie Morris. She's our grade. She was at OSHA for.
What is happening right now? I love it.
What year did you graduate?
2000. Let's tread lightly here, Danielle. How old are you? 2014.
Okay, so I was right. I was talking to someone that you were a senior when we were freshmen.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's how we first met.
Okay.
We didn't really hang out. I just knew of you, and I think vice versa.
I'm pretty sure they were what was it? No, it was not B-Boys Anonymous. There was a B-Boy club.
Yes,
and
with Lex.
I remember.
Lex.
Yes, Lex. I remember. In room 18.
Yes.
And randomly we would see or pass, and I remember that's when I
was always with Lex. Yeah. But with talking about OSHA, your leadership, do you think that is it from your parents? Did you get or is it from OSHA or being just in where did your leadership I feel you're so powerful in that being a leader right now.
All right, y'all ready? It's gonna be a little bit of a long one here if we're gonna talk about that.
If we're
gonna bring it back to OSHA, I think even before OSHA, I did competitive gymnastics.
Oh, okay.
And that was kind of where I got my discipline And obviously there's like pros and cons to like literally being like a child soldier and not having the agency to do what you want.
Yeah.
But it also did give me like the leadership skills that I need, that I have now. So I understand that discipline. I understand how to read a room. I understand like what the space needs, because I was exposed to that type of leadership really early on. And I say it's a positive and a negative, because I'm so glad that I did get exposed to that environment, because again, it makes me the leader that I am.
For sure.
But there was no agency in that. I didn't have a choice. So all of these things that I implement now as a leader, I thought was common knowledge. I didn't know that wasn't the standard. But that also comes from being a Black woman. I don't have the option to not be amazing in leadership. I do not have that privilege. So that also goes into why I am the way that I am in those spaces, is because I can't mess up.
Yeah.
I don't have, like, if I have one class where I'm off, or one class where I don't give my students like all of my energy, people are like, well, she's a little bit lazy. But again, as a Black woman, I have to work twice as hard in order to get half the benefits that everyone else gets. Yeah. So again, like, that's like bare minimum. And then in terms of OSHA, I had a like tough experience in terms of the dance conservatory, because of the fact that I was a gymnast. And like backstory to that is I quit gymnastics like right before the OSHA audition. And then my mom was like, we didn't know what I was going to do. So she was like, oh, there's this like art school and they're having auditions soon and I want you to do it. And we went to the season finale for like the end of that year. And I looked and I was like, oh my God, I want to do it. Yeah. And it just like all lined up. So I took, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks of beginner classes at Jimmy DeFore. No. And I just prayed and hoped. And I went to that, went to that audition. I took like beginner tap, jazz, and like hip hop. And then I just hoped that would be fine. I don't know what happened, but I finessed. And I think it was, again, because one, I flipped at the audition. You already know what time it is. Like, I hit that little backflip one time.
If you know Danyel, you already know what you already know I be
flipping. And so I did that. And I also, again, was one of the only Black girls present. So again, because of the diversity requirement, again, it was like, okay, we'll take her. I wasn't, so I can also admit that I don't think level-wise, now looking at the Commercial Dance Conservatory, I should not have made it into the school. Blessed that I did, but again, there were a lot of other things that went into that. So when I went into OSHA, I was like bottom of the barrel every single time. Damn. And it wasn't until junior year that I found hip hop. I went to HHI and I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. So I was always seen as like less than at OSHA, to the point where I was like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, I don't think I can make it here.
Especially since OSHA didn't really like, because I auditioned for dance too, but they didn't really like hip hop. Like, cause at all. That's my strong suit. Obviously, is hip hop.
Hello, right.
But
hello.
But obviously you have to do everything, and they didn't. I mean, I wasn't really. I mean, I was trained in some, but not like how it is with the other people going there. But I totally get like, seeing that switch probably for sure was
right. That was the switch. Well, I guess fast forward, when I went to OSHA, hip hop was called dance conditioning, because that's how low they valued it.
They didn't even say hip hop.
Right.
Wow.
So that's what it was called. Fast forward to, I was so like put down at the school, to the point where there was like 7 groups, and there was always like the good group, right? And I was always in the level below. So I was never with my classmates. I was one of like 3 sophomores that were in the freshman group. I never made it to the senior group.
I feel like that's that's a struggle. Like hearing our class, that's always a struggle with that. Like it's
it was degrading. Like climbing the ladder for no reason.
Yeah.
But because of that, I remember I was like, before I graduated, I was like, I'm going to get so good at what I do in hip hop that they're going to ask me back to teach. That's my goal. And then fast forward, they asked me to teach as a faculty member. So I taught at OSHA for the hip hop, or I taught hip hop at OSHA in the Commercial Dance Conservatory for 2 years.
You start teaching my senior year.
Yeah. So then I came back and I was like, oh, wow. So then again, even that leadership of knowing what the students were going through, because I went through that, and then teaching my own way, because I understand going until 4:50, like for what? You're tired. You have to go to your studios after. I'm not going to make you do these things if you're not mentally there. And again, a lot of things happened, and then the pandemic happened. Mess, basically. And then I left. I left because there was a new director, and she, again, labeled hip-hop as dance conditioning.
She went back to the old school.
Yep.
So that's currently at OSHA.
Yeah,
it's
currently
dance conditioning.
at OSHA. No, But then that was in the beginning of the pandemic, and then I boycotted. I said, I'm not going to teach. So I said, I'm not going to teach it. I don't teach dance conditioning. I teach hip hop.
Hell yeah.
And the vernacular that you use shows the students that hip hop is less than or not as valued. But the gag is when you graduate, all of your auditions are hip hop. All of your auditions in the industry are hip hop.
I've been saying that since like freshman year.
Yeah, you're under preparing the commercial dance conservatory because commercial dance is hip hop right now. So that's what I said. So I basically said, I'm not going to teach. And then the parents got mad. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, we don't want to mess up the seniors' UC credits because it's already on there, and if they switch it, they won't. And I said, no, I got into UCLA with dance conditioning on my credits first year. So don't hit me with that. And I said, I'm not teaching.
You tried that.
And then all of a sudden, two days later, email, so we've changed the name. I said, that's what I thought. And then I continued to teach. Obviously, things happen. Things were happening in quarantine with social justice. There were like wildfires going on. There's so many things happening.
You were very vocal, and that's why I think you're a very big leader, and people listen to you. Like you're not afraid to say your opinion. I feel like so many people are afraid to say their opinion, and that's why like this is new for us. But like we want to be vulnerable, and like it's like that's why I found you like so inspirational. It's like you like to voice your opinion, even if you are wrong. Maybe like you doesn't matter. Like
I strongly believe that my truth protects me. So as long as I'm speaking my truth, I'm protected.
100%.
But even within quarantine, me voicing my opinion or speaking my truth was not out of choice. It was out of need. People that look like me were dying. People that look like me are dying with no justice. I have police officers knocking on my door trying to forcibly enter.
I remember that story.
Like this is not a like, ooh, I want to get my clout up and I want to make sure,
it's not like a joke.
Think it's not like I would be talking regardless if there's one person listening, two people listening, or 200. I don't care, because my truth is also allowing for younger Black girls to feel as if they have the agency to live as long as I do.
Amen.
Because of the fact that I didn't see representation, I did not think that I deserved to live past this age, 25, because I did not see longevity in it. I did not see support or love in that way. So me just purely existing in my own truth gives them the agency to do that themselves. That's all you mission accomplished for me.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's your whole goal, and that's I think that's very powerful in my
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
And we talked about this on the first episode, the whole talent and obsession. From the 10 minutes that I've met you, she's the embodiment of it.
Wow.
Yeah. We were talking like people can have either talent or obsession.
Correct.
But it's not mutually exclusive, so you can be obsessed with the thing you're talented about.
Yes.
And that's who legends of their crafts are. And I see that right there. That's wow.
Wow.
Because you can be talented at something, but if you don't have the guts, or if you just don't have the balls to do anything about it, the person who's working their ass off and isn't as talented, who is just gonna work, is gonna surpass you.
Period. Yeah. Because again, they don't care how many no's they get, or they don't care. It's not about the audience or the support necessary. It's great to have an audience and support and even finance. Like, it's great to have, but that's not the reason why the message is being said. It's not the reason why we do what we do. So there is that also like obsession with what you're most passionate about. And if you turn that into your craft or your career, then that's when, again, you are legendary in that sense, because it's not a job. It's not work. It's not like something you have to go out of your way to do. It's just a lifestyle. It's what you truly believe in. If you are obsessed with it, it's going to be a part of your life forever.
100%. That's why we have a legend in the making in the building right here.
Damn, that's crazy.
Come on now. I mean, shit. Let's go back to down in the DMs, because we talked slightly when I brought this idea and how you felt like you wanted to do stuff like try to expand outside of dance. So like, what motivated you to do a podcast? Because you already talked about like, you love saying your opinion and pushing people to push them to the limit and all that, and make them really think and let them be vulnerable. Like, why did you think it was the right time for you to do that?
So there were two like prototypes of the podcast that I had. So quarantine, or like the pandemic started, and we had nothing but time. So nothing but time. And I wanted to be able to communicate with the people around me, but because my communication skills were not where they needed to be, I didn't feel like I deserved to ask people questions if it wasn't an interview. I didn't feel like I was famous enough. I didn't feel like I had enough like I didn't have the agency to ask people questions. That's even in my real life. Like, to the point where communicating with my friends, I have to have a reason to communicate. I can never just be like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? It has to be like, oh, I'm doing this, so I would like to ask you about this. And I noticed that, and I was like, that's kind of off. So I tried to figure out like where that came from. And then I also found out that a lot of like my self-worth comes from me being a product or my accomplishments. And I wanted to ask myself questions that didn't have to do with accomplishments, and I wanted to ask other people those things. So I did there were like 30 questions that I just wrote down that had nothing to do with like, what do you do for work? Like, what have you done? What medals have you earned?
That's why she's on the podcast, dog.
You know what I mean? So I was like, I want to get to know you without accomplishment or who you are as a human being. So then I interviewed like some of my closest friends, and I was like, oh, this is super tight. Things kind of like panned out in a way that I didn't get to focus on that, and I kind of left that. Fast forward to like the end of last year, there were just so many things that were happening. I feel like I hit rock bottom to the point where I was like, I don't want to dance anymore. I don't feel like the community is safe. I don't want to put myself in a toxic environment, even if it's for the advancement of my career. I'm just not at that point. Yeah. And then there was one day that I woke up and I was like, oh, also audio messages are my love language. I'm an audio message ass bitch. Yeah, like always. I just be sending them. Yeah. So I woke up one day and I was like, I don't know why, but I was like, if you had a podcast, like what would you say? And then I just got on my phone and I was like, just talk. And then that was the first episode. I didn't plan on uploading it. I didn't plan on like releasing it in any way, but I was like, okay, let me just like pretend for a second. I was just so, I don't want to say delusional, but I was so like removed from my life and like not caring about anything that I was like, I'm just going to make this up and I'm going to do it. And then a lot of things aligned. Like I did, like my graphic design friend like made something for me. I talked about like down in the DMs before as the name, and then everything just kind of aligned. And then I was like, no, I'm gonna post it. And then I posted it, and then people were like, no, this is tight, you should do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do a 30-day challenge with it. That's it. And then here we are. And then I realized that I just love talking.
That's exactly what
I love,
said.
right, you know, I just love talking, but I also love just, there's the truth in it, but I also think that there's a lot of value in people's unfiltered thoughts. Because you can also go into like what trauma that they have experienced, both trauma that they have worked through, that they are working through, and you can also sometimes see the trauma that they have not acknowledged yet within yourself or within the people that you're talking to. Yeah. So I think doing that for myself allowed me to self-reflect on my journey, and like the topics that I picked from the hat like seemed to line up with my life in a way that guided me throughout that whole month that I did it.
I remember listening to something like, they did perfectly align. Like it was insane. It was insane.
Yeah, purr.
We're here.
Hello. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it just aligned so perfectly with the things I was going through. And then I kind of realized through it that sometimes your own guidance is the only guidance that you need. Yeah. Because a lot of the times I ask outside people, like, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? But through that podcast, I was able to legit listen back to some of these episodes and be like, no, you literally said it right there. Even though I wasn't thinking about it, I wasn't planning it, but me just allowing myself to speak freely, now I can go back and see those answers for myself. It's not getting guidance from someone else that doesn't know my situation. I'm the only person that knows what I've been through. I'm the only person that wakes up with me, sleeps with, like that's the only thing that I have. Yeah. So I'm going to look to my guidance first and my intuition first. And I feel like you can even hear it in my voice in the podcast that I can now distinguish in myself the difference between intuition and influence. And now I distinctly know those two voices in my head because of the fact that I went through this process.
Definitely. That's fun. God damn. Damn, Danyel.
We out here.
Yeah. But it's crazy you talk about like how everything aligned, and it's almost verbatim what we said the first episode. Where our podcast, where I was kind of like you, I was kind of like zoned out. Yep. Where I was like, yo, I'm just going to make this happen. Because I was in a deep part of my life too where I just went through a breakup for a long time. And then I not a lot of work was coming for me for like music videos and like filming wise. So I've always had this idea, and that's when I was like, yo, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to ask these people that I've known for a long time that I want to work with. Yeah. And then everyone said yes, everything worked out, and then we had dinner, and we were just talking about how everyone here in this building right now and all the equipment, like everything aligned perfectly, which was nuts. And then even now the guests are coming in and it's scheduled, like it's like incredible. So it's like I didn't really realize like everything happens for a reason, because
it does. Yeah.
Because going through that breakup, I was like in a depressed state, like for sure. Like I didn't like pretty much almost like suicidal, and like I didn't have anyone, because and then I talked to this guy a lot, and then that's why Julian came on. I talked to him a lot, and like that's when I like pulled myself out, and like I had to do something, you know, and like just like everything happens for a reason. And I truly what you're talking, like how your podcast came about, and like listening to some of it, for sure it was meant to be, for sure.
I think it's also full circle, because your producer Jules is one of the first people that told me you should do a podcast.
She was telling me this.
So again, like this full circle moment to have Jules watching this process happen. When a few months ago we audio messaged, and I was like, whoa, like I remember audio messaging Jules and being like, I don't know why she feels so confident about it. Like even like hearing it in her voice being like, no, you should do it. Like I really think that you would be good at it. And I was like, oh my God, somebody believes in me in something other than dance. And I was like, whoa. And then just the confidence in your voice really showed me like, oh my God. And I've known you for a while too. And I was like, okay, well, if she's seen me dance, she knows me as a person, and she can be this confident about something that I've shared vulnerably to her, then I should pursue it. So even your like words and your energy has carried throughout this podcast for me too. So seeing you here with this happening, talking about it being full circle, means a lot. That like this moment is alignment for me, because you were the one that allowed me to feel like I had the agency to do my own podcast. And to see you now in the producer chair, to see you doing this for other people as well, shows that it is aligned for you as well.
Woo, amen. Come on now. We should have brought the tissues.
Okay, for right.
We should have brought the tissues on this episode. God damn.
Just to chime in, I literally used to like FaceTime Danielle, and I'm like, I wish we recorded this. Like if I could just record this and listen back to it, like that would be amazing. So to have you have your own podcast to listen back, but not for our conversations, but for your conversations to yourself, like that's.
Yeah, I remember the first time I even called Jules about this job, I was obviously nervous. It's nervous to ask people for this kind of big ask, and also like we're a startup and I don't have money involved. You know, like asking people to do stuff for free is very like hard and vulnerable.
Absolutely.
But I knew Jules is a very open person, and I can be myself with her, and just having that first conversation, I knew she was gonna be. I needed her as a producer, but she even brought you up too, saying like, yeah, I talked to Danielle. Like she always brought you up about it, and I was like, okay, we got to get Danielle one of the first episodes. So it is crazy how the universe is aligning
very much,
like, insanely.
Very much.
But going back, how you said you were afraid to ask things from other people. Like I saw this I don't know why I saw this on a TikTok, but like, why do you think people are afraid to ask for help? Like, why do you think other people are afraid to ask for help? Not you specifically, but like,
I think it's a vulnerable thing, like you said, to ask for help. Like asking for help, like just being in the energy of asking for help is
it shows weakness.
Like correct. It shows the other person like, I need you. Yeah. Or like there's that like codependent energy that like if I ask you for this and you say no, then our friendship is on the line. And that but if you are not mature enough to release that and be like, okay, if they are not available, that's totally fine. That doesn't mean that they hate me. It means that they are not aligned for this job, and I need to take that as a sign. I would rather ask for help, someone say no, than me be like, I'm not gonna ask, and I'm just gonna hope that they come around, and I'm gonna hope that they read my mind, and then you end up both sides not understanding. So now, and I think that's communication as well. Rejection is protection, and that is something that people do not want to go through. Nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to even be in the space to be rejected. But rejection is the first step to success, in my opinion. So if you don't get through that and ask for help in order to be rejected, then you won't get to the place that you want to get to. So even getting past or having the courage, and I think courage is the word that I like using, having the courage to ask for help is also having the courage to put yourself in a position where you want to be better than where you are at right now, and acknowledging that you cannot do it yourself, and collaboration is the way that you get to the top.
My God.
Mo's over here like starstruck.
Every like 5 minutes, my mind just like is blown again.
I told
talking.
you. No, this is literally I told Mo. I was like I love all the guests that are coming in, but I was me and Jules talked about I'm so excited for you to be on this episode because people need to hear this and what you say is like how
we need a part 2 on this one.
Well, like
you know what I'm saying? Like you already know where I.
Exactly.
Call the request line.
I can't even keep up with my production notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll watch this one back. All good. Yeah.
Week.
Come on.
Yeah.
But like it's like the way you say things. Like I always say this every episode. I barely know the English language, and but like the way you say things isn't your cliche way of saying like. Just cliche things of being motivational. It's like super like intuitive and like, you know.
You honestly, that's like probably one of the most articulate people I've met. Like no shit. Like me? Yeah, like that's nuts.
You should see her in class though. Like she's on another level.
I probably won't be taking any dance classes, but
hey, you know what I mean. If
you're trying to get a beginner one-on-one though,
right? You trying to catch a step.
You're trying to catch a step.
Make that an episode.
Homie got rhythm though. He like.
See, that's all you need.
I mean, and
that two-step.
And he's an actor, so he got the facials too.
See, stop playing. Untapped potential.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
That's on period.
It's already broken.
It's already broken.
That hurts.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Damn. You got what else? Like
I'm like processing all of the I'm like learning a lot from you right now.
Wow.
Like honestly. Yeah. Just like mindset.
Wow. Mindset.
Yeah, like the mindset you should be in.
Sure. Yeah, I'm like lost in words.
Wow.
You too. Ask.
I think like yes, that's the mindset that you should be in, but like where are you right now? This moment.
Okay. I'm trying to think because as of right now in this moment, I'm kind of trying to not go back to my old self, especially with this Vegas job and not overworking myself in terms of career. Because I mean, you know that I pushed myself to the brink for like the past few years, whether that be physically or mentally. And right now at this moment, I'm not willing to do that for anybody. Like that's like even to like a selfish point, family, friends, career.
You got to keep yourself sane a little bit.
Period. And now I've experienced within this pandemic, knowing what it's like to be isolated, knowing what it's like to literally support myself and have nobody around me and me be fine with it and me actually crave that isolation more so now when I'm outside with other people. So I'm trying to not get back to my old self where it's like, oh, I need to produce. I am a product. I don't want to become a product. I don't want to get back to that. And even mindset right now, something that I'm kind of trying to keep boundary-wise. Ooh, boundaries, huge for me. Didn't know what those were before, but now, setting boundaries and figuring them out. But I do not want to be in any spaces that make me doubt my intuition. Yeah. A single second.
Definitely.
And that intuition and influence, now that I can separate the two, I understand, like my body understands when my intuition is being played or being tried. Yeah. And now I have to have, like, again, the courage to be like, this is a boundary for me, all love and light, but because of this, I'm not finna be in the space. And that's even with dance jobs. And unfortunately, that means finances come out. So I have to be okay with, like, finances not being where I need to be, but my mental sanity being where it needs to be. And knowing that if I am mentally and spiritually and emotionally stable in a way that, like, I'm in the best vibration, the money and everything else will come.
It'll come.
I cannot chase that at the cost of this.
Yeah.
This needs to be here in order for this to go here.
Yeah.
But if I chase this will always stay here and I will always be here. This will never go up if I chase it. So if I'm here and like my vibration is where it needs to be, then this will happen all around me regardless. And again, that's when alignment happens. And same thing too in terms of, like, I don't want to say controlling things, but even in leadership, directing, like things that I do, or even going like through daily life, like I'm a planner. I have to know like what I'm doing in advance. I got to be like, boop, boop, boop. But because of recent event or because of kind of like what's happened over quarantine, I've like shifted perspectives. So now again, I'm like trusting the universe. I'm going with the flow.
That's dope.
So now I just wake up every day and I'm like, I have things planned, but if they don't like happen, it's for a reason. And I'm just going to go with it. And recently I have experienced so much abundance from just allowing life to happen in like the best way, and me just focusing on being in the best vibration I can to receive the things that are in my path. I've already done the work.
Yeah.
I've done the work before, so now I just have to be open enough to receive the things that are for me, and then be okay if the things that I want don't pan out, because usually it's the things like the location or the job or the finances that I want. It's because I feel like I will feel better after getting it. So I have to chase that feeling and not the destination. So I tell the universe, I want to feel like that. For example, I want to be on tour. Why? Because I want to perform every single night in front of thousands of people. Because I want to put on that character. Because I want to be able to be in my element. Now, does it have to be Doja Cat? No. Does it have to be at the Staples Center or at SoFi Stadium? No. But if I can teach a class at Offstage that gives me that same feeling with 10 students, thank you, universe. Because that is the feeling that I want and that I desire. And the universe will give it to me. Ask and you shall receive. Yep. But you have to let go of the desired outcome and you will get what you want. So instead of chasing those things, I chase my feelings so I can acknowledge or like be able to discern what things are best for me, and then just trust that I will get the feeling that I crave from those things if the universe allows it.
That little tidbit I've learned over the last couple of years as well is like, I think I've told you this, I've told maybe Milad, is that if I can be like 80 years old and I'm still acting, that's it. That's all I need. Like it doesn't even matter if it's like, as long as, if it pays my bills and I can like work theater in Los Angeles as an 80-year-old.
Amen.
That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
One more thing, you kind of touched on it, but like an artist living a creative life, how is that financially?
Terrible. Awful.
Amen.
It's awful. It's
Amen.
awful. It's awful because...
Amen. Especially as a dancer.
Because especially for me personally, your creative work comes from such a vulnerable and deep place sometimes. Yeah. So when it is not financially compensated in the way that you think it deserves to be, then that flows back. Not only are you broke, but now you're heartbroken, because now you're being told that what you genuinely care about and really love isn't enough in the public's eye. That feeling of being like, oh, I actually can't do what I love and pay my bills. Because if I really want to do what I love, then I got to work a 9 to 5 on top of that, and then be tired when I come home. And then the product that I actually want to produce, I don't even have enough energy to produce at its capacity. Therefore, when I release it, I know it's not my best work. So if it's not my best work and I don't get paid like as it should be, then all of a sudden I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
But if I have the energy to produce a product that I'm like, hey, I don't care if I get paid for this or not. I don't care if people view it, but I feel good about it. Then it doesn't matter about the views. It doesn't matter about the finances. And again, like I've said before, they will show up and it will happen if you are in that right vibration. But I think honestly, just being okay with knowing that my art will get me to where I need to go, regardless of finances, and the universe will absolutely support me. Like it will not let me fail in that way 100%. As long as I'm doing what I love. Instead of, because I did the Pete's Coffee job. I did the waking up at 4:30 in the morning, doing that, going to college, and then trying to pay bills, and then also trying to dance, and then having dance take a back seat because I didn't have enough energy. So then realizing like, okay, you know what? This is what I love to do, because it is my job, regardless if I'm getting paid for it or not. I will dance every single day of my life, regardless. Whether it is I wake up and I freestyle or it literally doesn't matter. It's going to be a part of my life, like as long as I live.
So the day you die.
So now I'm focused on how can I be in the safest space possible for my art to be where it needs to be. If my art can be in a safe space, then I will be in a safe space. Same thing financially. And I know that. And that's like, I'm at the point, and that kind of circles back to where I'm at right now, is I'm at the point where I know that my art and my creativity, my leadership is here. I know I'm top tier in that. And I know I have what I need to back it up.
Oh, yeah.
All I need now is the safe space to flourish. And I will wait as long as I need to. I'll wait 10 years. I do not care. I'll move states. Once I find that safe space, I know that I'm going to, it's like.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah. And right now, like, y'all are seeing me at 10%.
Damn, I'm scared to see you at 100 then.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
But I am beyond confident. And I know that because I've kind of done it backwards. I've done all the work early on in my life with discipline and all this, and even in the leadership. So now I'm waiting for that space so that I can actually feel safe enough to give the knowledge to the people in that space and flourish that way. Because it's not like just me. Like my dream is to own a studio. That's my own studio. Then I have that space where I can create the safe spaces for other people. Definitely. So my ultimate goal is, again, if I do choreograph a tour, screw the auditions. I have close friends. People, yeah. I want to bring my friends to these jobs. I want to be able to pay my friends doing what they love around me and making sure I create that environment. That's where I'm at. That also goes into my purpose. My purpose is believing in other people before they believe in themselves. It takes one person from the outside to tell you, again, one person from the outside to be like, you should do a podcast.
That's right.
Same thing. You've done that for me, and I do that for other people through dance. But I cannot do that in an unsafe environment. I cannot. That's just not how it works. So I have to just wait. And I'm so impatient. But I am willing to wait for that safe space because I know it'll be worth it. Yeah. So now, again, I'm going to just be at 10% until I find that space. Once I find that space, it's over. Yeah. So I know I'm willing to wait because I know it's going to be worth it. And I also know that other people need it. And I'm not willing to sacrifice it for temporary gratification or instant gratification just because, I could do it now. I might have, like the followers in order for people to feel like they could listen to me and do all of these things, but it's the safe space. Yeah. So I think right now that's what I'm working on, which again sucks financially because that means I have to remove myself from spaces that do not have safe spaces as their priority. Which sucks financially because then that means that I take a toll.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take that sacrifice.
Yeah, so I say it's terrible because am I doing great financially right now? No. But I also think that energy is currency. And if that's the case, I'm rich.
Wow. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. I'll see you later for part 2. Wow. Catch you later.
Danielle, I think, oh my God.
I don't even know how to process.
Yeah, let that sink in for everybody.
For everybody. Yo, I'm like sunken in. I'm in the sunken
place. I'm in the
sunken place.
Come on.
But I think what the example, like I was saying in the beginning, is you do you back what you're saying now, you back it up with your actions. And I saw that firsthand on whatever when I took your class for the first time, and like seeing that and hearing you now, I know you're going places because you really back it up. It's not like all these people can say it's easier said than done. Yeah, for anything.
Absolutely.
But the action speaks for itself, and and that's what I'm realizing now. With social media and like promoting this is like I didn't want to do it right off the bat and like rush it and do it kind of half-assed. It's like I want to put my whole heart in it and do everything and let this speak for itself. And I feel like that's a lot of dance too. Like let everything. I was so like even when I would like get like callbacks or anything, like I would be excited to like tell like a friend or something. But now I'm like, let it just happen first.
Hold it back. Exactly.
And then let it speak for itself. And like and that's what we always have this conversation with social media is like we are not that type of people of like, if something semi-cool happens or whatever, or just any job, like we're not gonna blast and be like, yo,
no, look what happened. This is what I'm doing.
This is what I'm doing. Like, no, let our actions speak for itself, and then the whole universe. And like, and my mom always tells me as a thing, she always tells me for anything I do, money will come. Don't fucking stress about that shit.
Absolutely.
So
money comes easily and frequently.
Oof. There it is. I don't even know like any more like. No,
we got one more. We got one more.
You like no? What do you mean one more? We gotta say a lot.
No, I know. But I got one more like locked in.
Let's go.
That's what. Okay, Dylan and Jules kind of explained to me recently the difference between like industry dance versus community dance.
Yes.
And you've been really big into community dance. Have you ever thought, or why that / have you thought about making the transition to like industry dance?
Yes. Because we've been noticing you did a lot of dope stuff with JoJo. Yes. I love JoJo. I've known her for so long.
JoJo, I love you so much. Thank you for taking a chance on me.
But like, how how is that transition? Like you said, why that transition?
Yeah. I think, well, speaking of finessing when it came to even the high school route, I had a lot of like traumatic experiences with auditioning for agencies at that time, because my mom was like, oh, you need a headshot, you need this. So we're like, oh, this is what you have to do. We knew nothing about the industry. So she just kind of threw me in there and was like, I guess this is what you're supposed to do. And that experience was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not meant to dance. And this was before I found HHI. This was before I found hip hop. So this is just what dance was to me.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward to going to UCLA and being around the industry and being around LA dancers and not feeling like I fit in and being like, okay, this is not the community I'm around. Also, the industry, working with like the external part of it was tough for me. Working with body dysmorphia, even working with race, working with being a woman in the industry, all these things being stacked against you is like, why would I try? I didn't feel like I had the agency to put myself out there because I knew I was going to be rejected. And I knew I didn't have enough strength in myself to bounce back. So I wasn't even going to put myself there. But it wasn't until recently that I was like, oh, wait. Like, I do have enough confidence. Like, even if I do get rejected from these things, I'm okay. I'll do it. Like, I'll be fine. So now I'm at a point where I am actively putting myself in these spaces, knowing that they may be harsh, knowing that I may not get what I want, but I'm okay with that. The difference between industry and community for me personally is, even though right now at the moment it's a no, but within community dance, there is more community aspect to it. Like I said before, 100%. I like being around my friends. I like bringing up a team from the ground up. I like that aspect of it.
Camaraderie.
Yes, I like the underdog trope. I will always be an underdog. That is the energy that I like to surround myself with. For the industry, it really seems like it's only one person can eat at that table. And if you are eating at that table, that means you have to step on the other people who want to eat with you. I'm not trying to do that. And I know that I'm going to get to a point where I will be that choreographer in the industry and I will do it different. So I'm not willing to put my name out there right now and say, oh, I'm going to do these side jobs and blah, blah, blah. No. You'll know me in the industry when I'm top choreographer, but I've already established myself. So I'm not going to, again, it's that like bow and arrow release moment. I'm going to get there, but not until I'm ready. So I'm slowly putting myself in those spaces, but I'll be there.
Yo,
I'll be there.
You're spitting hot fire right now. Like crazy.
All I do, I be talking in that audio message, that phone.
But it's like,
so you don't want to do industry until you can change the game.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
I don't want to do industry until I'm the choreographer at the audition, like picking it out. Amazing. And I know that I know I could do that right now.
Yeah.
If I got a call right now that was like, hey, could you choreograph Doja Cat's tour? I'd say absolutely.
Hell
and then I
yeah.
have 20 people with me. How much time do you have? But I know that I am not at a point where I feel safe enough to do that. And I also know that the people around me, I have not found that soul family yet. That's in my process. So right now, my process is not putting my work out there and being like, please pick me. I got the work. I have the pieces. I have the form. I got it. Right now, I'm just figuring out where my Avengers are. I'm figuring out who around me is going to come with me when I'm at the top. Because I'm going to get there. But I'm trying to figure out who's coming with me. Because I will not do that on my own.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out who is going to come with me. And then when I have that moment, the safe space and all of that, that's when you're going to see my name. That's when you're going to see me in the industry. Not as a side character, but as the main character. I'm going to be the top. I'm going to be the Sean Bankhead of it. Please believe. But I'm not going to integrate myself until I am at that level.
Oh, don't forget, I believe. I believe.
One day.
No,
one day when that actually happens, we'll like roll this clip and it'll be like, remember when this first happened? Remember. Here.
I remember just going way back, even when we started getting close, when we did HHI together. Yep. I knew, like, you know when someone's different and how they move, and I knew for some reason I just knew for some reason it was always like you were just something else on another level, and like especially when you start helping with Adam and stuff, I just knew it was the next step, because that was before you had Vimo and everything. But I knew the next step for you in that moment was a team. Wow. Like, so whatever you're saying now, oh, trust me, I believe. Like, and I think the analogy you had with the industry, because I come from both sides. originally community, and then I switched over and did handling back and forth. But I always try to, again, not good with English language, but I always try to explain the differences.
Yes.
And we were trying to explain to him, like, it is kind of individualistic in the industry. But how you said, like, the analogy with the dinner table, like, you're the only one at the dinner table. That's exactly how it is. Like, that's exactly how, like, I don't think anyone could have explained it better. And it's a good thing and a bad thing, obviously. But, like, you can, for sure, that analogy sticks. I always use that analogy now. Yeah. Thank you.
Got you.
For that analogy. God damn.
Got you.
So do you, you briefly talked about it, like okay, I got it. It's all coming back to me. You were talking how you're going to take, like, we talked about taking your time, and then you're not going to go to the industry until you're ready and have your Avengers and all that. Yeah. We always talk about this. We've been talking about this for the past couple of hours, but, like, I feel like everyone, especially with social media, everyone's at a fast pace.
Very much.
Trying to rush, and then you're talking about financially, like, people want to move out of their parents' house. Yep. I still, FYI, this is my parents' garage, not my garage.
I still live in my parents', you know what I'm saying? And we're also in a global pandemic, so you know what I mean?
That like, too. But, like, people try to rush, and, like, just people try to, like, do you think that's a negative for sure with social media? Like, how do you balance that for you, and how would you tell people, like, just to slow? That's always for starting this year. That's that's kind of like how my mentality is going. Slow it down a little bit, and, like, I'm not in no rush to, like, move out. Absolutely. Because I wanted to move out for a long time, but I looked at it financially with my mom. Hell no, I can't afford that. Hell no. Like, I'm not ready. And if my parents especially are supportive and they're not rushing me to move out, then why would you move out? So if your parents aren't supportive and aren't rushing you to move out, like, stay home. Like,
that's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It is. And, like, you get to stay home. You create more memories with your parents and your family. But like, why we'll go with the social media, like, being a negative, and, like, how would you tell people to slow down? Like, with your experience, like, how do you tell people to slow down?
Well, social media is tough because as a dancer, yes, but also just, like, as a creative in general, your social media is also your personal account. Like, it's like what you use to express yourself, but it's also your resume. You could book a job based off of what you post next. So that's why that was, like, a paralyzing thought for me. And that even went into how I choreographed. I started choreographing knowing, like, okay, well, you need to book a job or you need to make money. So this has to be the best choreography of your life. And it has to be, like, entertaining to the point where you have to put the whoa in there because I know that's going to be, like, a catchy. We all fall into it. Yeah. But it's because at the end of the day, it's not even just like Instagram is your resume. Yeah. Social media is your resume, period. Yeah. So you could book jobs based off of what you post. But I find that if that is the reason why you post, you will not get those jobs. So now I use my Instagram account as just like this is what I'm doing. This is what I genuinely want to do. Fun. And that happens to be dancing. That happens to be my career. That happens to be what I love to do. I'm not sharing it because I want to get jobs. I'm sharing it because I love doing it. And I'm finally in environments that, again, make me feel safe enough to express that. And I'm just showing that to the people who live overseas, my family in other countries, stuff like that, 1,000%. That they can observe it rather than it be, I'm trying to go teach out there in those countries, so I'm going to post this video.
Just so I can go out there. Yeah.
Different. So then social media can be a negative in the sense of if you treat it like a resume, then you view yourself as a product. But now you have to, the trick now and the reason why you can slow down is you need to be able to advertise yourself as a product, but not receive feedback as a product. You have to push it out as a product, but receive it back as a human being. And that difference is what allows me to slow down. 1,000%. So again, like, I'm not racing to see how many people liked it, or I'm not racing to see the engagement. I'm not racing to see how many comments. I'm going to just post it. I'm going to go on with my life because guess what? There's a lot of things that are happening outside of that screen. So go ahead and put that down. And then after forgetting about me even posting it, I go back and I'm like, oh my God, look at all this love and look at all this support, wonderful feedback. And then from that energy is when I create my next piece. From that energy. Not from I hope people will watch this and like it. No, I'm creating that energy because the people that resonate with my work, that feel like vocal enough to comment on it and say something about it, oh, that's the fuel that keeps me going. And that's why I produce. So that's why I'm able to slow down, because I know I'll always have an audience if I speak my truth. It will always be somebody that resonates if I am in my most authentic energy, as opposed to me being not authentic and appealing to what is popular. That's also doing a disservice to me. So if I'm doing a disservice to me, then I cannot do a service to other people.
True. Yeah. God. This dude's mind blown. I knew this episode was gonna be so compelling, and we talked about like motivational and like too much, but like I feel like it's not even being motivational. This is just like real talk. This is just real talk. Like it's not even. We're not trying to be like I don't know. I'm trying to come up with an example.
Right, but it's not trying to like preach it. Because it's not like I'm not trying to get you to think like me. I'm not trying to get you to you know what I mean?
This is just real talk, and like what she's saying, I'm learning new shit just from today. Right now.
My God, yeah. Like, yeah.
But, you know, it's just insane. I had something in my mind, but fuck. God damn.
I'm trying to, like, take in the things that you're saying, but still, like, trying to contribute.
I'm gonna ask you, because I want to hear your opinion. Do you think that's why people fuck with you a lot?
Yes. I say yes because I think me being authentic and me being truthful gives other people the agency to do that themselves. But there's the other side of that. Because when you walk in your truth, that also exercises demons out of other people. Your light also shows other people their darkness. So if they do not have enough of that light, then they switch it. So in the same sense, like, people really fuck with me. There's the people that really don't.
It comes
in
with
that same light.
Yeah.
So what y'all see in the sense of support, and behind the scenes, I see in the sense of the opposite. So living in those two balances allows me to be where I'm at and be so confident in it, because at the end of the day, not everyone's going to like your shit. Even if you are doing the best someone's going to not like it. Yeah, so you might as well speak your truth in it.
Damn
might as well.
Might as well.
Because someone's always not going to like it. Yeah. So I would rather someone not like my truth rather than someone not like me because I'm trying to be somebody else. I'm not finna do that.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yo.
It's like therapy. This is like a therapy session.
Hey.
But this is why, this is exactly why I wanted this podcast, because after the breakup, I said in the first episode, I had my first like conversation with a mentor and someone to help me out of that was Arnel Carvalho.
My mentor as well.
Yeah. Like, wow. I consider him the godfather of hip hop, the community.
Ooh,
Arnel, like, I love you. Yeah.
I love you.
So like I said this in the first episode, but going away from that conversation, I was like, yo, okay, I really need to do this podcast, because I found having conversation is very therapeutic. And I've never, I talk a lot, but I'm never vulnerable with people and like say how I feel and then like you said in the beginning, like, it's hard for people to be vulnerable, but I wanted to create a space to allow that, and like, and that's why I didn't want it to make it a scripted interview and like make people be prepared for the questions we ask. Like, we're just gonna hit you with it and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes it like authentic and organic. And again, that is, and I mean, it hasn't been released yet, like in this moment, but I also know that that's why people will resonate with this podcast. That's why people are going to tune in, because it is authentic, because it doesn't seem forced, because you create a safe space for, the artist, or even like the producers, the people behind the scenes. You can tell that this is a safe space. This is a space that's not only safe, but it is sacred. You care about this space.
100%.
And the same thing, like driving over here, I wasn't like, oh my God, what are they going to ask me? Because you've created that safe space for me. So I know that you would never do me dirty by trying to like catch me off guard. Yeah. So I came in here knowing that you would create a safe space. And again, if the safe space is created, then again, I'm allowed to speak my truth. And for that, I thank you for giving me that space.
Yo, that means so much to me. I mean, I hope it means like, because you two just met too, and I know it's very open, vulnerable when it's new, but
absolutely,
I trust Mo with my life, and I hope it was like well received.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, like I said at the beginning, like I've known you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and like I can tell what, like you said in class, what Dylan was saying, like you'll take the time to talk to every single person. and like create that safe space for them. That's like a thing that they'll try to do in acting classes as well, because like it's very vulnerable when you're acting with you, like emotions can come out, or you'll bring things up that make you feel a certain way, and if you don't feel comfortable, you won't try it. You won't challenge yourself. You won't take the risk. Yeah.
But even like in the sense of why I talk to my students after class too, a lot of in quarantine, well, not in quarantine, but even in an ongoing pandemic, the dance studio is sometimes the only safe space that some people have at this time.
Yeah.
And they are risking their lives. They are spending their energy and their time to support me monetarily. They're not just coming because it's like, ooh, cool dance. No, you are paying money. You are like, you have to wear a mask. You could be at home safe. You're risking your life right now. So the least I can do is give you a conversation at the end. The least I can do. Because sometimes as a instructor, if you have 50 people in class, you can't watch everybody. You can't attend to that, but you can do that personally at the end of class. And I think that that should be included in every class. That is the teacher's obligation, because they're paying your bills. The least you can do is say thank you for coming. The least you can do is give them feedback. Hey, how can I like work on myself as a dancer? Did you see me? Yes or no? Do you have any feedback? Yeah, that's why you're a teacher. You're an educator. You're not just here to share. You're also here to teach. You're also here to like inspire and make sure that they walk out of the room with more than just choreography. So that's part of it to me, is conversation. And I think that's the same, because conversation saved my life over the past 2 years, whether it be uncomfortable ones or like very vulnerable ones, because uncomfortable conversations are also needed. And I avoided those at all costs. But it wasn't until, again, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, that we had to have uncomfortable conversations.
Cool.
1000%.
Yeah. Let's cut really quick.
Yeah.
Ooh, come on, overheating.
Oh no.
What was a big moment in your career? It could be like a piece that you taught, or just a moment in your career where like, yo, this is it.
There are a couple of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably have a few.
I do have a few. Ooh. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to narrow it down.
Let's narrow it down.
Like a moment, like what type of moment? Like
It doesn't
changed it. Moment that I
moment that
like,
it clicked for you. This whole thing. It could just be a conversation with you and Jules, or a piece where you're like, yo, this is. I love this piece. This piece means everything. And
okay.
I know it's a very hard question.
It's a lot, but
because I feel like you keep you kind of you live in the moment. You keep track of a lot of things in your mind. I feel like you have that.
There's 3 moments that come to mind. So, first moment is, First moment, wow.
We taking it back?
Yeah.
We taking
First
it back.
moment was with Vimo, and it was Bridge 2018, I believe, or was it 2019? I guess we'll never know. But there was it was the second time that we won, so it was the Bridge right before the pandemic.
Okay.
So that moment is when I was also going through a lot of very rock bottom moments. Same thing with like suicidal ideation as well. And I remember doing that performance. I remember crafting that set. That was a goodbye set. I danced that set knowing that that would be the last time I would dance, because I would not be here on this earth after that performance.
Wow.
So, and that's why you see, like, after I perform, I'm always like, rah! Like, I'm always that. That performance, I just stood there and cried. I literally just stood there and cried. I was like, that was it.
Wow.
And then in my mind, I was like, little does this audience know that this is the last time that they're going to see me.
Wow.
And dancing, I put everything I had. Everything I had. Like, I left nothing back. And then feeling that and the sadness that I felt in that moment, being like, that is how I want to feel all the time. And that was the last time that I will get the chance to even feel that. So I experienced such a high moment that I was like, oh my God, I want to feel that again. But then that mindset I was in, I was like, that was it. And then
you were kind of like set in that. Like,
and then so just feeling that those like 2 polar opposites at the same moment and having that on film is a lot. So even looking back at that moment, a lot of people are like, oh my God, that was such an inspirational set. But little do they know the mindset that
You
set
were
was in
yeah.
and what I was thinking on that stage as I walked off.
Wow.
There was like genuine fear. Like there was genuine fear that it was like, oh my God, I just experienced one of the last great moments of my life.
Did your fellow teammates knew? No one knew?
Nope.
Wow.
My board knew it was a farewell set in terms of VMO. Because I wanted to like disband it. And it was like, oh, I'm not going to do VMO after this. I gave no explanation. Only I knew. And then even there, like we made a little documentary after. Oh. And then there was like an interview section at the end and I was like bawling. Wow. And it was because in that moment I was realizing like, oh my God, this is really it. This is really it. And I was very confident in it. And then pandemic hit, saved my life.
Really? Yeah. Wow, that's crazy how...
So that moment was like it just shifted in terms of like where I saw myself in the future living on this earth. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of how my art was received when I did what I wanted to do. Yeah. When I just came from like if this is it, then I'm going to just show you how I'm feeling or show you where I'm at.
I'm just going to give you
I'm just going to give you that. So that moment really like, I guess, shifted a lot. Second moment was... HHI when I finally made it to World Finals.
Let's go. I remember that.
Backstage. And I remember being on stage after we performed. And the year prior, I remember not making it to Worlds. And I remember sitting at this, like there was a specific seat that I remember sitting in. And
this was with LFG, right?
Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting in that seat the year before, watching people on stage and being like, I'm going to be there. And then I closed my eyes and I imagined the speech that I would give when I made it. And I gave that speech to myself that I looked at the very seat that I sat in the year prior and I talked to her. I wasn't talking to anybody in that auditorium. I was talking to her. Yeah. And I was like, it's a year later. Look. And then that's again to everyone else. So that was a moment that was like, I achieved my hugest dream. And I had that moment to talk to my old self and be like, see, this is what this is what happens when you believe in yourself. You actually do it. So next time, dream bigger. Do more for yourself. That shifted it. And then the third one was the Welcome to the 805 performance. Closer. Being able to speak about what is going on social justice wise while still letting the community know that I'm not going to come back if this is not fixed. I will not give you my art and my time if y'all are not willing to acknowledge that you are willing to profit off of Black culture but not amplify it when we need it. Yep. I'm not going to return to a community that is willing to stay silent for those types of things, but you want to profit off of my art. You want to be entertained. No, that's not going to happen. Nope. But feeling what it was like to stand there with Ruthie, like after everybody fell on the floor and like literally looking at the audience, it was like a question mark. Yeah. It was like what are you going to do now? Yeah. And I know that impacted the people in that audience and the people that watched it. So now understanding that I do have the agency to speak on these things because of personal experience, but also we need it. My art is going to be what future generations look at to be like, what was happening during that time? And that is a privilege and an honor that I have because this is like history now. Yeah. We didn't have social media in that time before to understand, oh, this is what was going on then, and this is the art that was being created. So to be able to share that at this very vulnerable time that we're in and be able to give my art and be like, this is what's going on. Yeah. In 10 years when you watch this back on YouTube, this is what we were going through. Yeah. And then now you can, like the choreographers in the future can be like, okay, this was what was happening. If the same thing is happening, how can I do it different?
Change the
and
history.
If this is not happening, how can I pay homage to those people that went through that bullshit in order for me to now be in this space? So I don't take that lightly. Yeah. But then that performance kind of allowed me to be like, I think that your art is more than just moves. It's more than just entertaining choreography. You can also impact an audience to do something after you dance. Definitely. And that was that moment. And that's really crazy too, is because you were behind the camera for that moment.
I was just about to say,
full circle, once again.
I was filming that performance. Wow. I was trying not to shake the camera because I was like, Danyel! Oh shit! Let's go! And like, now that you bring up the concept for the closer and you and Ruthie standing, it did feel like a question, a question mark, and I didn't know it was that deep, but like question mark, like what are you guys gonna do next, or like what is? I was like waiting for something else. Exactly. I was like, now that you say that story, that's amazing. And I think for sure that piece that whole entire piece was crazy. And I think people, this goes into my next question, next topic too. Yeah. But I think that's what people forget. Like, it was just an exhibition. It's like for the community. There's a lot of dance competitions, and like people do their all just if they're try to get first place. Yeah. But that should show people, even if it's just an exhibition, y'all just murdered. Like, it doesn't even matter what place. Like, it doesn't matter the placing for you.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
So my next thing is, a couple days ago, I watched back like old Choreo Cookies 2012, their storyline, their old people set, their orphan set, companies, the school, all that. And I was thinking, and then I went forward a little bit to like 2018, 2019, before the pandemic, and I just miss those concepts. Like, I feel like a little bit, a lot of teams, me and Jules kind of talked behind the scenes. It kind of got boring and half-assed.
Very much.
And then going back to even I think the only team, like 2019, 2018, it was Brotherhood that was changing the game, was keeping the story alive. Yes. But like going back with the Choreo Cookies, like those blew my mind. Like, and you have Vimo, like how do you, and you have that backstory with the 805 and the whole storytelling, even though it's not super on the nose, you still have like, is it just me, or is something's missing a little bit? You know what I mean?
No, it is missing. And I think, again, for me, where I'm at now is completely shifting. Yeah. Because before, like, competition is why I did things. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But now that we're in, and I hope that is where other people are at, is the pandemic has allowed us to not have competitions anymore. There are no you don't get to do that. Yeah. So now the people that are still producing are producing because they love it. Yeah. Because they actually just want to perform. So now I'm in a space where I don't want to create art to be critiqued or judged. I want to create art to express and to storytell. And I hope that the storytelling aspect of the community is where we're getting back to because of all the things that we've witnessed.
I think it really needs to come back, especially with what's going on right now. And
it's stale. Like, right now it's stagnant. It's stale because, again, people are just imitating.
100%.
Imitating other people's move, which is great. Again, you could be super clean, you could be super tight, and that's great. But I would rather feel something. I want to know your story. I would rather see how you interpret a theme different from another team. I would rather see how, because again, even CG, the 9/11 set, impactful. People were crying in that audience, but I know damn well that everybody in that audience left that building like either going to search up, oh, what was that really about? Oh, how am I connected to 9/11? Do I know anybody that went through that? Like, art creates conversation. Now the art that the community is creating creates no conversation. Yeah. We need to create art that creates conversation because we need it. Yeah. Like, the artists are what move this forward. Yeah. And I think artists at this time have the ability to storytell in a way that is not political, that in a way that can be reached to multiple different audiences and actually get them to grasp what's going on. So I think artists are needed at this time, but artists are not protected at this time.
Yeah, and they're not, and they don't want to step up to it. And I feel like it's a lot with acting too, is like...
Yeah, just as artists, like creatives in general right now.
In general, and but like, I think I always go back to the orphan set with...
I remember seeing that live.
I remember seeing that live too, and holy, like, that piece will always be stuck in my brain.
Right, but don't you remember how you felt? I don't remember the choreography to the T. I can remember moments, but I damn well know how I felt and how I remember when the set ended and me not even, like, I couldn't even cheer. I was so speechless, and I was like I was crying. And then I remember feeling the energy of the people around me. And I was like, it's not just me that is feeling this. It's not an isolated feeling. I'm not the only one that thinks this is cool. They impacted this entire audience, and I want to do that one day.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that we're missing.
Yeah.
Because right now we're producing a lot of things not for the audience. We're not producing it for entertainment purposes. But again, as an artist, you are there to entertain. If someone's going to come watch you in a show, I would like to think that they're going to be entertained or impacted in some way.
Yeah.
Right now, it's kind of like, oh, I just want to do what's kind of cool to me.
Cool and like,
You know what I
and
mean?
you
Oh, I
just
just wanna
see
do cool
clean,
dance moves.
clean
Yeah.
lines,
But for what?
cool moves, but
For
like.
what? I can see that on YouTube.
I
I
can
do
see-
not have to
exactly.
go out. Yeah, I can see
Exactly.
that on YouTube. And if I feel like the difference between seeing something in person on stage as opposed to seeing it online is the feeling. The feeling that you get of being in the audience or hearing the music at such a high capacity and like that energy exchange. So if there's no energy exchange, then why am I here in this auditorium and not at home in bed watching this on the television?
Straight
There's
up.
no reason. But then now the stakes are higher because we are in a pandemic, because now people are protecting their energy and their space. So if you do go out to a performance, if you do go out to these even classes or whatever it is, again, it's a little bit more sacred. So now we have to up the standard in that same way because now it's more accessible. We could be on IG Live watching it, still getting the same in real time energy. That's fine. But it's the energy exchange that needs to be there that, again, we're not crafting these sets with that in mind.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those like residual, the energy exchange between the audience and storytelling and the team and who's on stage is an afterthought instead of the priority.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that time of cookies, CG, even the Battle Royale set that CG had, I remember being so impacted by that set and being able to bring a story to life through dance is what got a lot of people into the community. Like, I want to do that. And again, me too.
100%.
But even now, it's like, why do you want to be in the community? Oh, so I can be in that cool video.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you want to be in the community? Oh, I kind of want to know how to do this move cool because I want to do it at parties.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But but there's no like want to bring new energy in because we're not giving them anything to want to be a part of.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm not saying I'm the fucking best dancer, but
Right,
I've been in the dance
You
world
have.
for
You have.
so long where
You
I
have.
can
Yes.
say when something
I can
is-
say that he does have the right to talk about it. He's been having.
But you know, like I've been in that scene for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen so many sets, and even my parents say like they're not dancers, but they've been around that scene
Yep.
where they can
tell.
like that's why there's always mad respect with Cookies and
Yeah.
specifically Keone Mari for keeping that storytelling alive.
Wow.
So that's my whole thing. I just want. So what do you think for you personally?
Yeah.
Are you trying to bring back Are you trying to do things with Vimo?
Crazy that this is the conversation that's happening right now.
Because like, what are you as a director now?
Yeah.
We talk about storytelling. You're like the 805. It wasn't super on the nose, but
Yeah.
still story there.
Yeah.
Like what? How do you bring something new to the table?
Yeah.
Like even for HHI, like
Yeah.
how do you? Because we said the community is a little stale with
very
the
much.
dance teams. Like how do you bring something new to the table?
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. Alignment.
We
So
hear
I disbanded Vimo
Oh,
completely
really?
because there were just like a lot of things that happened over quarantine that made me feel unsafe
Okay.
in terms of their support. Even like with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, half of the team stayed silent. And it was like, even if these things aren't popular, and I hate using that word, but if they aren't popular on social media to the point where
Trending.
everyone is aware, it's always going to be a problem for me. It's always going to be a problem for me, regardless if it's solved or not in the media. So if you are not willing to support me in this moment when I need your help, why the fuck would I teach you dance moves for free and elevate your career
Straight
so
up.
that you can then get to the same place that I'm at, but because of your skin color, you're going to get paid more than me. So why would I give you that?
Straight up.
So then I had to, again, same thing. And I care about Vimo so much. That's like my baby.
I know, of
And I
course.
refuse to
course.
raise my baby in a toxic environment. So I will remove it. So I disbanded it. But damn, we got into the Maker Empire showcase, and as of today, I literally texted like a few people, like 20 people, and I was like, hey, do you want to do this performance? So as of today, I'm bringing it back.
Let's
So
go.
that's crazy that you asked that because the answer to that question yesterday would have been no.
Wow.
But the answer to that question today is yes.
Damn.
Wow. That's
This
crazy.
is wild.
Yeah. And FYI too, I was supposed to do Vibe when we were supposed
Yeah,
to do Vibe.
and
We were supposed to do Vibe.
Yeah.
Of course, you made the decision to pull out, and then Vibe postponed.
Mm-hmm.
Before Vibe postponed, you pulled out.
Yep.
That was I was gonna be on Vimo.
I know. Wait, well,
Oh yeah, we'll talk. But that's that's crazy that aligns. So
Yeah.
I know you got next steps coming for sure.
Yes.
Let's go away from like what do you like? I feel like we've been talking so much dance. Like I want to know. I want to know like what you do on your free time.
Talk. Audio
There it
message.
is.
Do a little. Okay. Free time. Well, now I guess my life has completely shifted. Like before, it was all career. Like this is the only thing that I do. I like wake up and I'm thinking about career and dance, which is great. There's a space for that. But obviously, going to therapy and figuring out like that self-care is not just for when you are hitting rock bottom. Self-care is an everyday thing. It's not, you don't earn self-care. Self-care is a right that you give yourself. So now, like, even waking up and, like, going on walks, like, in the morning, that's the first thing I do.
Nice.
Go on a walk, clear my mind, meditate, figure out where I'm at, journaling, reading a lot. Like, just knowledge is power in that way. So, again, even being isolated and figuring out, like, okay, if I'm just here by myself, what do I want to learn about? Or what can I, like, how can I elevate my mind a little bit more today? Yeah. So those things I try to integrate practice-wise. And that's an everyday thing. Like journaling, again, same thing. Journaling saved my life. And before it was like I hate writing. I hate it, but that's because of school.
Yeah.
Because
you kind of go back to writing
like,
as a school thing.
Exactly. But then now journaling is like, oh my God, journaling is an everyday thing. Like my journal is tired of me. Every time I open my journal, it's like, again?
Yeah.
I got some more shit to say.
Exactly.
So journaling is a huge thing for me. Mm-hmm. I love cooking.
Nice.
I'm a cooking ass bitch.
Hey, let's go.
Love cooking, kind of getting into that. Or even like my sister is a TikToker. Mm-hmm. And she's she's famous for smoking weed. And she's also a screenwriter. So she integrates those two things along with her fashion. And so she's like famous on TikTok. She's like doing the damn thing, which is great.
Let's go.
But also having conversations with her and getting closer to my family and then realizing the similarities between us and realizing that the way we like dress or the way we portray ourselves is also power and agency that we give ourselves. I'm kind of finding like more like want to like dive into fashion or like how I portray myself on the outside because I'm good with myself on the inside. But now I can cater what I want to the outside. Yeah. So now I'm kind of having fun with like putting new outfits on or like putting different combinations together and like even
I saw the glitter at class too.
Okay,
come on, the glitter.
Like come on. But even that like if you put a fit on, right? And you feel great and then you walk outside and then people give you dirty looks and not caring about that and being like I look good regardless. Yeah. Or like if people are like, I don't know about that combination. I said, well, I do. And there is power in dressing a certain way and being like, nobody but me thinks I look great. I look great to myself. And if you think I look great, that's awesome. But most likely you're going to think I look great because I think I look great. And I'm exuding that energy that makes you think that way. It's not the fit. It's the way I wear it.
It's the confidence.
So it's finding that within myself. So finding like even now just like putting new fits on when I'm at home and just feeling the energy shift. Like, ooh, if I wear this today, I'm going to feel in this energy. Yeah. I kind of like that. Or now I understand like if I need a little extra boost, I'm going to dress this way. Or if I need to kind of tone down or do whatever, then I understand what type of mentality that I'm in and I can cater that to like how I am each day. Yeah. And then that gives me power and agency every single moment. Even if I'm going through something that's like, ugh, like I'm not feeling great about it. Again, I have like the power to kind of like take that back and be like, no, you have your own agency. You're wearing what you want to wear. You're feeling how you want to feel. So it doesn't matter if this external environment is not making you feel that way. Yeah. You still have that agency within yourself. Yeah. So even just finding like points in my day to put on new fits or do different things like that brings me a lot of joy. Okay. Obviously podcast, talking a lot. I'm kind of getting back into like, I don't want to say vlogging, but I want to say like documenting like my life in a way that is not just like, here's what I'm doing, but it's like
what's up YouTube?
You know, you're like, hey, what's up? Like, it's not one of that, but it's like and I guess it's like a wrapping around thing, but like storytelling. How do I put things on video of like my everyday life that is not just showing you like what I'm doing in the basic, like I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, I'm doing this. Like you're just seeing what I'm doing, but you're also understanding what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Not just seeing and hearing it.
Yeah.
You're understanding what I'm going through in this moment, not just because you see me cooking, but why am I cooking it? Where does it come from? What recipe is that? Is that from Japan? Is that from like all these little things that color my life that I can like show to other people, and then that agency of I'll show you what I want you to see.
Yeah.
You're not seeing anything that I don't want you to see, and those things that I don't want you to see are just for myself, and having that be like okay and fine. And again, that's coming from doing things other than dance, because dance used to just be everything. So now giving myself the chance to be human and just kind of like
just live your life
and enjoy existing.
Yeah.
So one thing I like to do is just simply exist for myself and not anybody else, and just allow myself to do that, and it feels tight.
Amen. How we doing on?
Let's cut really quick.
Are we recording
It's
still?
overheating.
Oh, we're still going. Let's go. Yeah, we're still going. Hey.
Poo.
I don't know if you know this. You talk about Japanese. I'm Japanese. Yeah, I don't know.
I fully know that.
Oh, you fully?
I mean, yeah, obviously.
What?
I mean,
your mom.
Chibi,
Your mom is Japanese.
Yeah.
Is she from
Yes.
Japan?
Yeah.
No way. So what part?
Osaka.
No way. My mom's from Tokyo.
Oh,
She's,
really?
She's born and raised there. She's the first one to. She's the only one that lives out here.
Yeah.
In Japan.
Your
mom too? No way. Come
Damn.
on. That's crazy.
Yeah, but then that's also part of like the not identity crisis, but like all that I went through over the past 2 years is I don't look Japanese, right? So, but it is like if in high school, if I closed my eyes, I was not black. I was Japanese. Really? That's how I was raised, and I was raised by just my mom. Mm-hmm. So mannerisms, like even like the way that I speak, like I bow, or it's like
yeah, same.
Those little things,
aneurysms.
Yes, those things that people feel like, what do you? They're like, wait, what? And I'm like, that's part of that. That's like if I close my eyes, that's me.
Yeah.
Like the way I was raised, even like chopsticks, bento boxes, going to high school. You already know.
My mom even
mean?
does like small like like, hey, can you close the door? But in Japanese, like when these guys are all over.
Yeah.
Like,
or like when you go home, tadaima.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Crazy.
Like that. Just like little things that I didn't notice were off-putting to other people because of my skin color.
Wow.
And then figuring out like, oh, this is how I see myself.
Yeah.
And this is how other people see me. Yeah. And then not having to cater to it because it's actually none of their business.
Yeah.
And then being okay with just feeling more so Japanese when I'm at home, and understanding that when I walk outside, that's not how I'm viewed, but I can still act that way because I still have that right.
Yeah.
And definitely. Same thing, like even I have a dual citizenship. I haven't renounced my citizenship to. Come on, I want you to talk about.
Come on. Come on. Hey, when we going to Japan then?
Stop playing.
Come on now.
Please. But that's the thing. I've never been.
You never been?
So that's like bucket. Like I have to.
Me and my mom. We always try to go every year. Before the pandemic, obviously. And then I was talking to these guys, like hopefully when we get the bag, when we get the bag,
when, not if, when,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I never say if.
Never.
When we get the bag,
yes.
For sure, gonna take a business trip out there, do a couple episodes because I have But
you have a lot of family, like friends,
yes. And I compete with the Izumi company. If you don't know Izumi company, I competed with them almost every Vibe Junior back in the day. I was the only I was the only American kid. Yeah. They would come a week in advance. Yeah. To this competition, and then I would have practice with them for 1 week. Yeah. And then I would compete with them.
Yeah. Here,
yeah. They would fly. 30 of them would fly out. Damn. Yeah. We would have rehearsal. I'd be with them for a week, and I would just compete with them.
I didn't even know Dylan at that time, but I
knew you. But I remember,
That's crazy. But that didn't even click with me at a young age that I wasn't doing it to be the only one and to be known and to be cool. Like Izumi, the owner, she knew Kaita, Kazu, Mac, all the OG who danced with Rihata. Yeah. I guess somehow they were following me. This was back in the day, when they weren't even doing anything with Reina or with Rihata. And they were like, yo, I want to do a video with them because they were flying out. Yeah. And they contacted my mom, and then we did you can look it on my YouTube channel at Boogie Zone. I forgot what song it was, but you can see little Akko,
oh my god,
Akko and all of them. But then that's how I connected with Izumi, and then Izumi was like, yo, can you just compete?
Just hop in.
Yeah, just hop in. I was like, I wasn't knowing what setting myself up for. And then my mom was helping them too with translations when they would get here.
Wow. Tight.
So yeah, that's crazy that you like multiple people have said that where I'm like people known me from Izumi coming. I'm like, yo, that's
We're still in a little sailor suit.
yeah. I was
Come on, sailor suit.
I did the sailor suit. I did the is and out. And then when I hit 18, I couldn't do Vibe Juniors, but they still competed, so I helped a little bit on the creative side of it. So like
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Wow. So when they did the Vegas set, the casino set, the most recent one, I helped a lot with that one.
Ooh.
So yeah, back in the day though, that's back in the day. But let's go to Japan when we hit it.
Stop. That's
in the works though.
It's
in the works.
Again, you know what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I want. You know, I'll wait.
Exactly.
But you know
it's coming.
You know what I mean? I gotta go back to the homeland, please.
Exactly. So your mom's whole side is still out there?
There's one aunt that lives. I think she lives in NorCal.
Oh,
but again, not a lot of communication. Gotcha. But then again, all relatives are back in Japan.
Gotcha. So that was another kind of like conscious thing or like self like crisis where I don't speak fluent. Same. And it's like a quarter. And my grandma always wants, and she's kind of getting older, and my mom has kind of been on my ass about learning, and I just, when I was younger, I was never like into, I was like never like wanting to, and and then now I just feel guilty about it. You know what I mean? Like I feel guilty not wanting to learn and learning my culture, and that's why now like she tries to give me lessons on the side, or as much as she can, she'll talk to me in Japanese and do things. That's why if you hear her, like when we have like dinners here and stuff, she'll say like certain tasks to do in Japanese, and I know it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to learn more, but that was a big like self crisis for me, because I felt bad for my mom, like wanting me to, and my grandma's getting a little older, and she doesn't speak none of my mom's side speaks English, because she's the only one that's out here too. Yeah. So. Wow. Yeah. Big things.
Yeah. Okay.
Big thing.
Japan.
Gotta go to Japan. You know, that's the next stop. Yeah. Will you come on with us?
Stop.
Come on. Come on, come to part 2 is in Japan.
I'm not motherfucking playing. I'm not fucking playing.
Part 2.
Get me to Japan. Give them the fucking funds, damn it. Give them the bag now.
No, you already heard what she said. Yo, I think we're good, yo.
Stick around for another freestyle.
Yeah. If you're watching on the YouTubes, wait for Danielle's freestyle. She's about to go in, show her what she's all about. If you listen on Spotify,
go to YouTube.
Go to
and
YouTube.
Watch the freestyle.
But if you are listening on Spotify, why don't you give them your handles a little bit?
Oh wow. My IG handle is at Danyel Moulton, DanyelMoulton. I have a podcast called Down in the DMs. It's also on Spotify. I don't know if I will have season 2 coming out in the near future, but it will be coming out. And hopefully I will have the funds to have like something like this. So I'm gonna, you know what I mean? We'll figure it out. And I'm not telling you my Twitter, and I am going to leave that there.
There it is. Yo. And if you like this episode, you gotta listen to her podcast. You're going to get more gems in there. And I think that's that. I'm Dylan.
I'm Mo.
And that is a session. Just do the damn thing. Peace. That's it. Yo.
Oh, my God.